Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are. This is Mr. Shakespeare again with you on the 7th of February, 2024. I'm joined today by psychic medium and remote viewer, Liz Cross. How are you doing today, Liz?
I'm excited for this probe. How are you?
No, you know, so, all right. Hanging on in there and all that. What are we going to do today? Oh, yeah, let's do Tucker Carlson.
What would you like to know?
Let's just give a bit of background. Tucker Carlson is a journalist, a broadcaster. He was with the Fox News network for many years, and then they fired him. He's now gone on his own, which is good. He's having his own channel, the Tucker Carlson Network. It's at tuckercarlson.com, which you can sign up and join. It costs about $6 or $7 a month or something. He's generally regarded as a straight shooter. He's a good interviewer. He's interviewed lots of people. Since being allowed to be on his own and go where he wants, he's gone everywhere. And he's just decided to go to Moscow to interview, we believe, so rumor has it, but it's supposedly the Russian president, Vladimir Putin. Now, obviously, the deep state and the powers that be are very unhappy about that because they only want people to know the narrative that they say about Putin. Zelensky's been interviewed millions of times, always begging for money, coming over to Congress or something in his green jumper, his green tracksuit, and nobody ever goes to talk to Putin, which is weird. Tucker Carlson's decided to do that. I read somewhere yesterday that one of the members of Congress or Senate, was it, that's trying to introduce a bill to ban Tucker Carlson, an American-born citizen, from coming back to the US. So with all that little background, let's speak to Tucker. Have you got a contact?
Oh my God, they really are trying to ban him?
That's what somebody's, I don't know how they can do that, but he's an American citizen. He was born there. I mean, but yes, because he dared to speak to somebody in Russia, they want to ban him. That they are so afraid of what he's going to, I mean, I'm not saying he's going to give Putin an easy time or has given Putin an easy time, but he's a journalist. He wants it. He wants to do these things. So, anyway, can you get a connection with him, please?
I do have a connection with him, yes.
How's he doing today?
He's tired.
Has he already interviewed Vladimir Putin?
Have you already interviewed Vladimir Putin? Not yet, but I feel it's going to happen today.
Okay. What do you think about the senator or the Congress member who wants to ban you from coming back to the United, or from going back to the United States because you want Putin?
What do you think about the senator, the congressperson and government, the people that want to ban you? Oh, F them.
Right. Okay. Right. Let's
let's ask him this question. What prompted you to want to go interview Putin? Like, why did you want to do that? Because I wanted to bring forth the other side of the story. We're only hearing one side, and everybody seems to be scared of Putin. And I want to show that, he has an agenda too. Maybe I'll get some information that the other news organizations don't have.
Well, I'm sure he will, because they don't talk to him direct. No other news organization talks to him directly. So they're not allowed to. They're just not allowed to.
Let's ask this question. Was this your idea to talk to Putin? Now, see, I had to ask that. Okay. This was Putin's idea to talk to Tucker.
Okay.
Will you admit that? No.
Right.
He will not admit that to the public. They reached out to him.
Right.
I'm saying, what did they say exactly? Come interview me. So Putin asked you to come interview him. Yes. Why? Because he wants his side of the story to be told. So they obviously keep tabs on what's going on in the press, what's going on in the American media.
Oh yeah, of course.
Let's grab Putin. Based on that fact, I'm sorry, I'm hijacking the interview now. Let's grab Putin. Why did you approach Tucker Carlson? Because I wanted him to tell our side of the story. Why Tucker Carlson? They like him. He's a good man. And he seems to be, what did you say? He seems to be what? More akin to fairness, they said.
Yeah, well, I would say that. I think that's what most people say about Tucker Carlson. He's a pretty much a straight shooter. You know, I think that's why he was liked on Fox News by so many people because I mean, it's his job as any journalist job, or used to be, to hold the government and these people in power to account. I mean, the press that we have nowadays does not do that. It just repeats government propaganda, and that's all we've heard about Russia and Putin is propaganda from the West. Why don't we want to hear the other side? A lot of people do. I mean, they want to hear the. Now, I know there are Telegram channels and there are independent people who are commenting on it, people like the Duran and people like that. But I mean, they don't have direct access to Putin. So he's already said it won't be behind his paywall. Everybody can listen to it. So that's a good thing as well. And it'll.
Sorry, but the thing is, though, I know just from the little small time that I've been doing this, oftentimes when you appear on other shows, you give the hosts or the producers a list of questions for them to ask you. So if I was going to appear on another show, a lot of times it's called, and I can't remember the proper name for it. It's like a packet, and you give them all this. So you give them a bio, you give them like references, you give them how they're supposed to introduce you, and then you give them a list of questions that they can ask that will eke out what you're going to tell or what you want the audience to know. So I think we have to ask this question to Tucker. Has Putin given you a list of questions for you to ask him? No, he's bringing his own questions with him. So that was really important to me, because is Putin going to, cater this to be in his favor? But it doesn't look like that. They trust Tucker. They
They
trust him.
do, but don't forget, Putin is used to this. When he does his annual thing, he doesn't have a list of questions. Some of the questions are quite, they're from not from any fan of Putin, I can tell you. But he deals with it, and that's what you have to do. No, I think Liz, you're getting confused with the American system where everything is scripted. You can't. I
No,
mean,
no. Even when you
imagine Biden
appear,
going on a 4-hour meeting, or any American politician, and not having the answers in front. I mean, they're all scripted, yeah.
no, his are, but what I'm saying is this is a common theme. This is what happens. It's called, actually, I remember the name, it's called a media packet. So everybody sort of that does, has a YouTube channel or they have something, they usually have a professional media kit or a media packet. I even have one. So when people approach me about doing shows with them, I give them a media packet, or they give me a media packet if they want to do a collaboration with me. This is a typical thing across the board around the world. But I guess with it being Putin, and the fact that Tucker's gone to Russia, okay, so he's left his home turf and he's going over there. I figured that Putin would want to be more in control of the line of questioning, but that's not the case. He's allowing him to go forward and ask his own questions. So let's ask this. Do you require Tucker Carlson to show you, I'm asking Putin, a list of the questions prior to the interview? No.
There you go.
Interesting.
Exactly. And that just goes to what I say. You might, and other YouTubers and everybody might have a media pack. Putin hasn't got, in my opinion, there's nothing Tucker Carlson that can ask him that Putin will not be able to deal with. Even the really, really, really awkward questions. Putin will stand there and say, you know, this is what we've done. This is why we've done it. He will answer the question. He does this with his own people. I've watched one of his thing. I've watched the English translation, and you'd be gobsmacked at some of the questions that he gets asked. Questions that if they were asked of an American official, the people asking the questions would be marched out the room. And Putin still sits there and answers. I'm hoping that Tucker will ask them some hard-hitting questions, and I'm hoping that Putin will give some hard-hitting answers. And that's what everybody's afraid of. Well, the people who are controlling the narrative. This is going to open a lot of eyes, I think.
It's going to be interesting. So after the interview, I think we should revisit the probe again and see
Well,
what's happened.
but before we do that, let's put Tucker Carlson out. I don't know, a few days.
Oh, okay. How many?
Monday?
You always push me to the limit.
Oh,
You like to test my abilities.
3 days.
So let's go, what, the 10th, the 11th?
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
Okay, so February 10th, 2024, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. What would you like to know?
Is he still in Russia?
Are you still in Russia? No.
Did you interview Putin?
Did you interview Putin? Yes, and he came straight back.
Did he interview anybody else?
Did you interview anyone else? No, not officially, no.
Okay. Did he talk to Lavrov?
Who's Lavrov?
He's the foreign secretary.
Did you talk to Lavrov? Did you interview Lavrov in any official capacity? We tried.
Oh, okay. What was your leaving impressions when you finished the interview with Putin?
What were your impressions you're leaving when you finished the interview? He just said it was a lot of information to digest. It was a lot to think about, a lot to absorb. Now he's going to have to formulate an opinion around it. And are you going to get like a panel or a think tank? Possibly get a panel and a think tank in to give like an after sort of, post interview. What did you think? How did you feel about it? So that's kind of on his mind about should he do this. Are you worried about ruffling the feathers of the government? He is, because he, like everybody who is independent out there, they're worried about being shut down.
Funny that, isn't it? In
You have,
America, who preaches freedom and democracy. What about the free speech? What about the First Amendment?
what about, let me ask him, what about free speech? Free speech is dead. What about the First Amendment? Gone. So, he understands his limitations and he has to be very careful. Are you
Will
going to edit the interview?
Will the recording go unedited, or will it be?
You and I are on the same page. Are you going to edit the interview? He probably will edit some things out.
Right. See, the more he edits out, the less credibility he has, really. Or the less credibility the report has, because then that's a form of censorship, isn't it?
Are you going to edit out some of the things that Putin says? Not necessarily. Don't forget, everything that is not live has to go through some form of editing process. So everything gets edited. It gets cleaned up.
Yeah, I don't mean cleaned up for brevity or typo or something like that. I mean, answers taken out or questions removed and then the answer. I mean, those kind of edits, because, at the end of the day, we should have what would have been done live. I mean, the public should have what would have been done live, in my opinion. Otherwise, he didn't need to go there. He could have done it on a Zoom call from the back of an RV on a Greyhound bus or something. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't. It's not the same. It's like,
Well, it wouldn't have the same quality, would it? And it's a
you know what I
statement.
mean. You know what I mean. I mean,
Listen, one thing, after we've been doing these probes for all these years, the Russians are masters at psychological warfare. So let's ask this question. Did you know the psychological impact that would be, that the American government would have by inviting Tucker Carlson over? Of course he did. He knew that. He's trying to, that's the Russian propaganda machine at work. A lot of the misinformation that came out around these last couple of elections, the QAnon stuff, which I'll probably get taken off the air just because I said that word. A lot of that stuff was Russian generated, and they know these countries time and time again. We've probed them. They know that they pit the American public against one another, and that's very effective, because if you create,
government puts the people against one another.
Well, a lot of that stuff came from the Russian propaganda machine. So whether they had a branch, or a lot of that was coming from some woman, and that was when I probed years ago. Those of you that have been following me for a long time, I did a video on where was the root of QAnon, and bingo, that was a hit. I said, it's some woman sitting there generating like all this stuff, and she's being told what to put out. And bang, that was a hit, because somewhere in there it did come out that this woman was generating all this stuff, and she was generating it on behalf of the Russians. So that, Russia's always been a master at psychological warfare, especially when it comes to pitting citizens against one another in the US. They love that. They're known for that, because it takes the heat off of them, and it puts the heat on the American government. People become more hostile. People become more hypercritical. There's more discord. There's rioting. There's protesting. So that's one of the techniques they use. And we fall for it, hook, line, and sinker, every single time. It just kills me that people just fall for this.
Please, hold on. I've got to hold up here. Are you saying all of this is down to Russia? I think you'll find your own government does this much better than Russia does.
Oh, well, yeah, they pit people against one another as well, but certainly at that very tumultuous time, when there was a lot of misinformation coming out, lots of conspiracy theories being generated. That was being generated by the Russians, and I got that in a probe.
Okay, well, what about when the misinformation was coming out, started by the Hillary Clinton campaign after she lost to Putin? Sorry, Putin, she lost to Trump. And then she said that, and then the whole Russiagate thing came out, which was a complete fabric of lies.
Trump, yeah, they do it too. Yeah, I would love nothing more. Sorry, I would love nothing more than to probe the Clintons. I'm not scared of them, but I will go ahead and tell you all, my interviewers don't want to touch the Clintons.
No, well,
I'm not scared of them. I'm not scared of them at all. I probably should be, but I'm not. we could probe on all the mysterious deaths and start channeling all those people to find out who killed them, or did they commit suicide. That would be fun. Anyway, anything else you would like to know for Tucker?
Nope.
Well, this was a great probe, and this was Mr. Shakespeare's suggestion. So thank you so much, Mr. Shakespeare. Always a pleasure having you do these probes. Thank you.